Dave here, how are you? I'm hoping sound is coming through, image is coming through. You'll notice that I've got set up down the other end of the workshop this week. We're going to do a little bit of a specialization. We're going to do a focus on some of Arthur's stuff. So I thought we'll come down here beside the guy. This is my great-grandfather, not my grandfather, my mother's grandfather. And his bench and everything behind me. I thought it might make a bit of a nice change for, different background. What are we going to do on the show? Today is, of course, the 14th of April 2019, and it is about 18 degrees Celsius outside. A little bit of a cooler time headed for all of us down here in Australia. It's going to just get colder. Not as bad as it. We don't get snow, so it's not. Don't feel too sorry for me. All right, let's see what we've got on the show. Look at the combination square set. So this guy here, and it's also got this fitting here, and that one. That's the one that everyone would be comfortable with seeing. And we're going to give one of those away. So down in the description box, you'll see that there is a link to the rafflecopter, and hence, go for it. It won't work until around about 9 minutes past 11. Don't ask me why. I try and set these things up so that they'll start at 11 o'clock. Everyone on my Patreon page has had 2 days putting entries in. And I encourage you, you can do it every day. I encourage you to do it. Australia only, sorry, again. I am going to try and get an international one in the next week or two. So I'm going to approach a couple of different companies and see what we can do. Last week's winner of the Triton whetstone grinder, I will announce a little bit later on in the show. Fitting a new dust chute to my TS55. Now this is probably a machine a lot of you guys have got. It's got the old chute at the back that the hose used to go inside or over the top of, but it never really stayed still for me. The new one has got a kind of a ratcheting thing inside. It goes click, 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 so it holds a whole lot better, and it will also take the dust bag. So if you're interested in that at all, hang around, because I'll give you the product code for it. Now, it's one of those things that's not really advertised. So I'll go through changing it over and tell you the product code for it if you want to rectify your existing saw if you've got one. Repairing a leg on Arthur's bench seat. So you see I've got the blue tape around here. It looks like Bandage Bear, doesn't it? Anyway, this leg has just been decaying. This is Australian cedar, and this leg has just been probably in a puddle for most of its life in one particular spot. And this one, I don't know why, all the others are fine, but this one leg has slowly worn away. Now, I'm going to cut the leg off, and I'm going to repair it. I'm going to extend out here with a piece of Merbo. Now, this is not cedar. I don't have any Australian cedar that is this diameter, or this dimension, I should say. So I'm going to use Merbo. This will be painted white eventually. Vicky's been scraping this down using John Lafferty's from Yellow Box Shed, using his scraper, and it's been going fantastic using the heat gun. Scrape, scrape, scrape. But I think what we'll also do is get some paint stripper and give it a bit of a go with that. She has been using this with the P3 filters in it, because underneath the blue paint is lead-based paint. So something you've got to be careful of. So got her all careful for that. Oh, sorry, got her all protected for that. Axminster parcel has arrived, and you want to know what it came? So Axminster, you are aware that I did a video on Peter Parfit's Parf guide system, the first one. They got in touch with me and said, Dave, are you interested in having a look at the Parf 2 system? I said, yeah, by all means, send it over. So I'm going to do a review on this. I'll see how well it works. If it works, or if it doesn't work, we'll have a look and go for it. I have every confidence in it. They also sent over a few Fisch drills. Now, it's Fisch. And these things, I'll see if I can get it focusing there. Yeah, come on, focus, you can do it. My glasses are a whole lot more contrast than it's going to want. Come on, do it, do it, do it. Anyway, believe me. Fisch, that's better. And the thing I like about these is they have a quick connect fitting, but instead of being 1/4 inch, I think it's 6 mil. So it will also work with Festool Centrotec stuff. So we're going to do a few test cuts into some melamine. I've got some hardwood here. I've got some plywood and some pine. So they say that these ones give the cleanest cut on entry and on exit. Made in Austria. So there's a series of them. Oh, they also sent over a Centrotec 35mm Forstner bit. See that? It's got the Centrotec fitting on the end. So that's fantastic. What's the next thing we're going to be doing? Talked about the Centrotec style of bradpoints. Support the channel through Patreon and the Amazon links. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for doing that, everyone. And if you can keep doing it, that's great. Want anything on Amazon, just go in through one of my links in the Show More button, and away you go. All right, let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some blue tape around this, because cedar is a softwood, and I don't want it tearing out too much. I can fix it all, but why repair something when, if you can get a good clean cut to start, you're going to be on top of it. Now, on my tape, John Lowry gave me that advice. He said, Dave, just fold the tape over, and anytime you want to get a hold of it, it's ready to go again. So I'm going to hold it back out, pull it around. I'll cut that first bit. Marking knives, don't you love them? And up and over. And that should just about do me for the tape. I hope everyone's week has been good. Ken was saying that he's been a bit crook. That's no good. Remember, fold it over like that, and then it's ready for the next go. All right, I'm going to use the HKC. Let me have a quick read here first. I'll stop. I'll send you some cedar. No, Joe, I'm going to keep on doing it. It's going to get painted white. All the furniture here is white. So, you know, if someone else, one of my grandchildren, wants to pull it all apart and cut this off and put a cedar one on, good on them. That's what I say. 84. Okay, Big Rock, Timberworks, morning all. Hey, Leroy, how are you? Don't forget about the cases. Yes. Anzac Day is coming up soon. So I'm going to have a chat with Peter, and we're going to do a giveaway on some of the cases that he's made for the for medals and, you know, badges and all that kind of stuff for the military. I forget the name of the... you tell me, Peter, put a little note down there as to what they're actually called, because I'm not military. Stephen, Dave Fisch made Centrotec bradpoint sets in Imperial and Metric. I've only found them on the US sites. Will Carbotech get them? These are from Axminster in the UK. Stephen, I have no idea if Carbotech will get them in or not. Janice, and if it's that hard to find, then but baby powder on fingers and rub white line in is in the end. Okay. See your granddaughter shop sign up. Yes. If it wasn't there, just here, there would be hell to pay. That's called, if that wasn't there, my wife would be more concerned than my granddaughter. And I was thinking about it this morning. I was thinking it's called partner pacification. Do you ever have to do partner pacification? Now, I'm sure Vicky has to do more partner pacification to me than I have to for her. So just a thought. Anyway, I'm not going to worry too much. This leg has got a little bit of a taper on it on both sides. And also this way, you can see it tapers down from being thick here down to thin there. Now, I'm not going to take the whole leg off. The reason being, there are tenons here in both directions. And as the seat was built, it was built in such a way that I would have a hell of a time taking this apart. I'd have to take all the slats off the seat part. I'd have to just pull the whole thing and rebuild the whole thing. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to cut her off here. I don't want it too high up because I don't want the tenon, because I'm going to put a domino in here. It's going to go in there, an 8mm domino. I don't want it interrupting the tenon that's already coming up from here in this rail back into the leg. All right, military embellishments. Thank you very much. Girl power. All right, so I'm going to use the HKC and I'm going to put the dust extractor on it. Take it off the domino machine, which has got it on there at the moment. Now, I'm also going to wear this, why am I going to wear this? Because I mentioned earlier, lead paint. So just going to be careful. Your wife said yes to partner pacification. Now, ordinarily, I'll just lift this up a little bit. That's a good look, isn't it? Quack, 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 quack. Now, ordinarily, I would have my big helmet on, but it's only a P2 filter. So that's why I'm wearing a P3 filter with this. The dust extractor is running through the Festool separator and then down into a HEPA filter down there. So once it's all through there, it should be good, but just stray stuff, you know what I mean? Paul had a closer look at the router yesterday, looks great. I have to think of something to make, just to give it a go. Well, look, I'll tell you what. Paul Robson won the DeWalt router. I've got to be careful saying brand names because sometimes, not because YouTube frowns upon it, but I nearly said Triton router because we're doing a Triton giveaway, the whetstone. DeWalt did the router last week. I called the whetstone grinder last week. I called it a Tormek. I'm an idiot. Anyway, so that is Jaffa, the Doberman, checking out the new gear. But haven't noticed behind Jaffa, what's that? That's one of Dave's stools. So, Paul, how nice is it that you've made something that I've shown on the show? Or not on the show, I did a video on how to make that. If you're interested, go back through the videos. It'll be in the Craig section, I think, that I made that. All right. Yep, the fish bits are pricey, but it's the same as anything. I've just got to hook this on. There we go. All good. And you know what? I'll put the eye muffs on as well because George is really nice and he sends stuff out to people every month. This is going over the top. I hope you believe this. It is going over the top. The Festool system is fantastic, as I say. Just the lead paint. And, you know, here we go. So, the HK just sits straight on top. I don't even have to put a line. There's two stops, one either side, pushing up against that leg. I'm making sure it's in the right position, and here we go. Done. And you know what I didn't do, don't you? I didn't turn the dust extractor on. I'll turn it on now. There we go. Oh dear. What do you do? Something to protect the hair. Well, I have. It's called collagen. And it's working a treat. You know, it's still not, it still hasn't got a good cover of turf over the top there, but it's coming back. It looks like someone's thrown some seed on there and it's slowly starting to grow back, which is fantastic. Okay, now we have that cut all done, and that is a whole lot neater than it might have been. What do you think? I'll get the camera and bring it over and you can have a look. So that's what we're going to put a domino in. And you can see we didn't hit the tenon. Back to there again, so hopefully it's going to focus. Yep, there we go. Didn't hit the tenon. I'm going to put a domino in there, and it is tapered. Put this back over here. There we go. All right, where's my domino machine? Up there. I've already got the 8mm domino in there, domino cutter. The HKs are fantastic. Dave, you remind me of that movie made in Australia. Which one? Not Mick Dundee. They make a lot of movies in Australia now. I guess it's because it's probably cheaper to make them over here at Fox Studios. I think that's got everything done. I'll turn it on to automatic. Now what I've got on the end here is the trim stop. Now this guy here, I've adjusted already to that width to sit onto there. Originally I was going to put it on this side and go in that way, but this rail was going to foul the side of the trim stop. See, it has thickness with that mask on. I'm going to pop it on here and see if it's going to hold tight enough. I need to tighten it up just a little bit more. So that can be done. On the side here, on the back here, it's got a little thing that I'm going to slide around, and lucky I stopped because I hadn't put the clamps on. You can't see this. Yeah, that is what I call. Yeah, I get now. I get it. Call that a knife. So what I've done there is I've just tightened these up. Now these are a clamp that rotates sideways and pull away. If you haven't got a domino, this might be interesting for you. This is a 700. There is also a 500, which is a slightly smaller version than this. And that, honestly, that would do most people. I should have probably got the 500. Anyway, it slides in here and locks this plate onto the table, that little table there, which is your guide table, and allows me to center on top of a small piece of trim. That's why it's called a trim stop. I'm going to bring this in ever so slightly. I'm not going to show you while I do this. I'm going to take that, it was on 20, I'm going to take it into 19 on one side. So I've moved this in 1 millimeter. I'm going to do the same on the other side. And I'm going to try it in there again and see, oh, that's nice. So that's sitting really well. I love it. Now, also, I don't know if you're aware, but on a domino, you have these little pins. See this pin here? Now, that is perfectly in line with the middle of the cutter. The cutter is in there. It's an 8 millimeter router cutter. Now, people mistakenly call these drill bits that are in it. The domino is a router. So it's a router that's spinning a router cutter that's specially designed for the domino, and it oscillates. So it creates a slotted hole sideways. So basically, it's going to allow me to put this in, which is a non-rotating dowel. So you can call this a slip tenon, and you'd be right. Non-rotating dowel, you'd still be right. So this is going to pop into there. I'm pretty sure I'm going to set the plunge depth. That's a 50 millimeter. I'm going to set the plunge to 25 millimeters, so it'll go in about that far. So can you see it from the side? They're pretty cool. They're pretty cool. The castle, hey? Oh, Mad Max. Yeah. Dave. I'll tell you what. Let's not go there. Easy fixed. I'm going to pop this in. There's no lead paint in here, so I'm not overly concerned. I'll throw the eye muffs on again for George. These things are great. Deb Scott won the last set of G6s. What am I talking about? G7. You couldn't call it G7 because that's a government heads of government meeting. Anyway, I'm waffling. It's set at 25 millimeters. Here we go. As I say, this is going to put in a mortise for the slip tenon. The dust extractor is working. Done. I love it. You want to see inside? There you go. Perfect. And now I can take the specs off, take these off. The domino is going to go in there. I'm going to put some glue on it and drive it in. Doesn't take a lot. A little bit on the end. And a wooden mallet. I made this. I'm not hitting it with a steel hammer because I don't want to bend all of this over. This needs to be nice. I'm going to clean that off. Yeah, I'm just going to clean it off. Why am I cleaning it off? Well, because this glue goes off pretty quickly and I don't want it holding the joint proud at all. There, that's specialised way. You spread it out over your hand. It's only a little bit. And it's like when you're a kid and you got sunburn, you'd peel the skin off and you'd think it was fantastic. Had the longest peel. You ever remember doing things like that? Okay, now I need to make the other part of the leg, and I'm going to make it out of this piece of Merbo. Now, if you want to know how to tell Merbo, see in the end there's some gold flecks in the end grain. When I turned it there, see them? A little shiny. It's a given, it's Merbo. In New Guinea, they call this Quila. I think it starts with a K, Quila. It's amazing, isn't it? That, probably the same, when the continental drift happened, I think New Guinea and Australia were joined together, and I think it was Gondala land or something like that. You guys research it. I'm just talking, you know what I'm like. All right, now I'm going to rip it on the table saw to very, very close to what it's got to be. It's not going to be exact. The reason being, I'm going to rip it. That's why I've got a heap here, so I can keep my hands away. Then I'll dock it down to being too long. Doesn't matter. And then I was going to put the track saw's track on top of this in line with that taper and just clean the edges up. Now, I can't do that on the back, so I'll have to use a belt sander on the back, but that might be fun. But rather than have to do all the mucking around to line the domino up, remember, I've still got to put a domino in there. I want it to be perfect. And I don't want too much hanging off the bottom. Hence, I'm going to get it to very, very close. I'm going to spin the camera around. What type of wood is your mallet made from? That is Merbo on the top. You can see it. I don't know if you can see, but I laminated a few pieces together. And the handle is, it's an Australian eucalypt of some sort, possibly scribbly. And if you look closely, we're getting off the subject a little bit. How are we going for time? Oh, we're okay. You'll notice that this side from the center is a little bit further than this side. And that's because I use it this side mostly. You have more mass out this side. It works, you know. I should have gone a little bit further, but it just gives it a little bit more clout. And also, there's a golden rule, I think, for mallets with your arm and how far this is below here. Because if this was way down here, well then you'd feel really awkward hitting with it. Anyway, not a problem. Okay, Paul. Right, I'm going to spin the camera around and we're going to use the table saw. There we go. What do you think of this new setup? Can you see the table saw there? There we go. Beautiful. All right, I was going to use Jarrah, but I didn't want to cut that piece of Jarrah up for such a small thing. And I had a small piece of the Quila lying around. And I have the dust extractor here that I'll turn on. Now, with my table saw, I'm pulling air from the top and also from underneath here. It works really, really well. I'm going to use the saw in a different manner to how a lot of people do. And it works just fine. Basically, I'm going to feed the timber in to a certain depth because I only want around about 4 inches. I'll turn the saw off, retract the timber, rotate it 90 degrees, do the same, take it over and dock it. After, I'll just dock the offcuts off. But watch what I do, you'll see what's happening. Eye protection. The dust extraction on this is fantastic. I've got a knee stop down there, waiting for the saw to totally finish. Okay, I have that cut like so. Now I'm going to work from this side and do that cut. Yep, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that off first. Give me a sec. Okay, so I just docked that slither off on the Capex. Now I've got the right width here that I'm after. I'm going to put a rip down that side. I always talk too loud when I've got the headset on. Wait for it to stop. Beautiful. You can see it there. So now I'm going to cut that off with the Capex. I'll spin the camera around, you can watch. Tip her up a little bit. There you go. Turn the dusty off. Lovely. There you go. So now I have some timber that's sized to being much closer, and you can see that gold. I don't know if you can or not because I can't see what's happening there. Turn the camera around again. Take these off. And I'm going to move this bench off here onto the ground. Like so. All right. How cool is that? I love it. Just a running repair. A lot of people do this. A lot of people frown on it. They say, no, you've got to replace that whole leg. You know, a lot of work. A lot of work. This is the old one. Yeah, all mangled. Quila is Merbo. Correct. Correct, David. So there's my piece, and as I was saying, you can see the gold fleck in it. I'll get it. So, it just doesn't want to focus today, does it? If I come in closer with it, now it's focusing on my beard, my glasses, everything. There you go. For a second. Just trying to get the light to reflect off it. Anyway, it's there, believe me. All right, what do I want to do now? I want to put the Stanton bench here because that's the easiest way to do this. And we'll use that for the demonstrations for the rest of the stuff. Excuse me while I throw all this rubbish out of the way. It's not rubbish. All of these things, all these treasures. I think we're just about ready for it. I've designed something new for this as well. So if you're interested, I'll spin this back around this way and aim it down. Okay. All right. I'm going to put this on there. The domino is going to sit on top of that. I'll bring this along. Done. Don't you love it? Don't you love it? I'll push this back ever so slightly. There we go. And up a little, maybe there, I'll be able to be in the shot. Pull the strides up. Okay, so I just said I was making something new. This is a fitting that I made for the Stanton bench ages ago. Now, I've been mucking around with John Lafferty. I keep on saying John Lowry, I don't know why. Okay, so this supports a track here and stops the back of a track when using a track saw dropping down at the back, which is a pain. This new version has got a much better hose container. So if you've used a track saw, you know that the hoses always go wherever you don't want them to go. So as standard now with my plans is we've done a brand new plan, and this is not retrospective. I'm not going to send out the new ones to everyone that's bought one. I can't do that. It's going to be too much work. So this new one has got a much better hose containment area. Keep your eye out for it because it's an amazing thing. And further down the track, I'm going to start making these up and I'll throw them in with the Stanton bench as well. Not straight away, but very, very soon. There you go. Now, that's there. And we'll put the put these on again. And first of all, I'll check that the domino has been set up to the right width still. It's not. Yep, there, it's going to fit in there perfectly. Lovely. Now, I'll tip that up ever so slightly, a little bit more, about there. That's better. Now, why am I mucking around with this like that? I want the top to be as close as perfect on this part here. Drag this guy in, just got a splinter. Thanks, Arthur. So this joint here, I want it to be as close as, but not exact. I want to minimize the amount of cleanup work that I have to do later on. So I'm cutting it. I've trimmed that piece down. I'm going to put the domino mortise in there for it to slide over the slip tenon. We'll clamp that, and then on another day I'll cut that to length. It's just, this is something that Vicky's been cleaning up, and she said, can you fix this leg for me, please? I said, not a problem. But if I can do it while you guys are here, it's a whole lot easier than me having to do it and thinking of something for the show, because I thought, well, you guys might be interested in how to do this. So let's throw the specs on. Down and back. I'm getting used to them. The dust extractor's on. With the trim stop, on I go. Turn her on. Wait for full speed. Everything on. I love it. Turn off. Nice clean joint there with the domino. How good is that? This is now going to go onto there, and that will be a perfect fit. Yes. One of the other reasons I've done it this way is because I'm working on a taper. The leg is tapered. I've cut square to it. This is going to go on there, and it's going to be a perfect match because I've been working off the top and off the top. And I'll show you when I put it on how nice it is. I'm going to dock this. It doesn't have to be to any length. I know that the rough sawn side, and coming off my table saw, it's not very rough. I've got a dress side, and I've got a rough sawn side. So I'll know which has got to go up because it was the rough sawn side will be facing out. That's my reference side. I should have really gone around and put little marks on it, but it's only one, so I'm okay. And I'm going to just dock this off with the Capex. As I say, I've got dress side and rough sawn. So pretty clean off my saw. All right, now that is going to go onto there with a little bit of glue and a parallel clamp. This glue closes up. They say it's got 30 minutes you can take the clamps off. That's how quick this stuff goes off. So it's around 9 minutes. If you're doing a big glue up, I don't recommend this. If you're doing a big glue up, use an epoxy because it gives you a whole lot more time to work with it. Do you like my glue brush? Now, end grain soaks glue up really, really quickly. And being a total glue joint rather than nails or anything like that in there, you need to get it coated well. I don't really need to put any down the inside there. It's all over the domino. Rough saw inside is there. Wooden mallet. Wouldn't hurt. Reminds me of a joke, but I'm not going to repeat it. Okay. That's looking pretty sexy. Can you see that there? Before I put the clamp on, I'll bring the camera over so you can have a look. So when I put the clamp on, that's going to pull that joint up nice and tight. But you can see along the side, that's perfect. I've got enough meat up here for the taper to be cut, and it's not going to worry it down that side. And there's a little bit of stuff on the back. And the taper on the front is following. That's going to be perfectly in line. It's good fun. I love this stuff. Okay. Wooden eye. Yes, Gary, you're a naughty person to know that joke. All of you know it. Oh dear. Very, very naughty people. I know what Vicky's going to be saying during the show. She's going to say, when we watch it, she's going to say, "What's that joke you were talking about?" Oh, I forget it, darling. Ah, dear. I get myself in trouble, don't I? All right, parallel clamp on there. And she's just going to fit. That's lovely. Pull that back to about there. Oh, I love it. I need to bring it across a little further. I was pulling it to one side. Yeah, I don't know what those naughty boys are referring to. Bingo! Did it! All right, I'll bring this over. You can have a look. I'll come around that side. It's easier. No, it's not. It's hit another cable. Around the merry-go-round. There you go. It's pulled it perfectly. And across the top as well. So nice. So that's there waiting for me to shape it up. Probably tomorrow. No, it won't be tomorrow. I'm down in Sydney tomorrow. All right. So I'll take that off there. And this bad boy off there. I'll leave this bench up here for the moment because it's nice and easy to work off. Yeah, so that rail support. John's just finished. John Lafferty. Got your name right that time, John. John is finishing off the plans for me. Such a nice guy. He's doing those plans, and I can't forget Steve Innes as well. Steve did plans for me early days with the Mark I, and I'm extremely grateful for him for doing that to me as well. All right. Now the next thing. Where's my list? Where's my list? It's probably going to be change this around, and I'll tip it down ever so slightly. There. All right. How will I shape it? Okay. Now you got to look it up. Okay. I'm going to use my track for this track saw. I will put it on top. The track will follow this taper. You can't see it there. But believe me, I'll do it. And I've got two sides are perfect already. I just have to taper the back and the top. I know you can't see it. There you go. That's better. Okay, so I've just got to taper this and the back. This side and this side are perfect because the domino's done that for me. And as I say, I'll use the track. I'll lay the track in line with this, and it'll come down to about there. And then I'll run the saw up, and it will give me that perfect shape. It's easy. All I'll have to do is put a packer under here that's maybe this wide for the track to sit on. Otherwise, the track's going to wobble all over the place and be a headache. Right, this part. Torx, number 15. 15 Torx bit. There you go. That's the easiest way to do it. It's not connected to anything. I'm going to undo these. I could use the CXS for this, but I don't want to because I don't want to strip anything. Because these are alloy and steel screws going into an alloy, and I just find I've got a whole lot more control with a handheld screwdriver. This is a Centrotec screwdriver. If you haven't seen these things, they're magic. It takes all the Centrotec bits, so it's just the Centrotec fitting at the front. There you go. Love it. You like that joint? Hey Chip, what day are you at Carbotech these days, Zane? Mondays, at the moment. Who knows what it'll be next week or the week after. But at the moment it's Mondays. I'm reading back through here. Are you enjoying the show, guys? Is this kind of the kind of thing that you're happy watching? See, that's inside the riving knife. This is a beautiful saw. I love this saw. So there we go. That's the old fitting. I prefer the CXX. And Andrew? Big time. Why do I prefer the CXS? I love the handle. It just feels so much better weight. Now that it's got the 2.6 amp hour batteries in it instead of the 1.3 or whatever it had when it first came at 1.5, I think it was. It sits, the battery's got a wider foot, so it sits really well. You're enjoying it, Derek? Good. Yeah, so that's the kind of thing I like. This is a whole lot better, I guess, than just being a talking head. Now, this is the new fitting, and you can undo it and disconnect, and this part here, the dust bag will go straight onto. So let's put this part in. Now there's little dents. I'm just finding this out as I'm going. See that little indent there? There's a pin in there and two in the casing here. See, a pin and a pin, and there's the indents in this. So if you line one up in there, you're home and hosed. I hope. It's looking good. I'm going to give it another quick test. Actually, I'm going to push it into there a little bit more. Gotcha. I think it'll all pull up when I put the screws in. La 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 la. Yeah, pulled up just perfectly. Whilst I'm doing that, I've got the mouse over here. Let me see if who's that big mouth just talking to me? It was Derek. There we go. He won the moisture meter, remember, a few weeks back. And he's down on the floor there testing the moisture content of that piece of timber. And I forget the type of timber it was, Derek. If you could let me know, that'd be great. I'll come back to here. 1/4 we're doing okay. Time's going great. Always like to see inside things. Yep, save me one. I'll see you tomorrow. Ha! I don't know if they've got any on the wall. Look, if you want to know the code, I'm going to put it up here. It's 202096. That's the code for this little connector. 202096. If you're ordering it through Carbotech in Australia, they always put FE and then a hyphen before the code number. So FE for Festool, because they've got a lot of stock. You know, they've got thousands of lines. So, you know, no point looking for Festool instructions, I guess. They included them. Yeah, I guess I don't think there'll be any instructions. But this is dead easy. I'm telling you now, it's a Torx 15. That's that little bit there. Put my hand behind it so you can see it. Oh, come on. There. That is a Torx 15. All right? Little star-shaped fellow. And do it by hand. Don't use a machine, because you'll cry if you strip the thread. So it's just a little bit of pressure. 5 screws, machine screws. You notice I'm talking a little bit more technical. Well, maybe you hadn't. Maybe I'm not. But I've done the first video for Carbotech. Remember I said they asked me to do videos on their machines? Hasn't the first one been an epic? It's taken me 3 weeks to get their first one done for them. But we were just working out between them and me as to what is going to be the best format. And we think we've nailed it. And it's not like these videos where I'm just talking off the top of my head. This has to be very specific and accurate in what the instruction manual says. I have to basically agree when I'm talking about it. So might be worth a watch. Now here we go. This is the other part of the fitting. Now you'll see inside it's got those little marks, and that's for this style of hose. See on the end it's got all those recesses and little arrows, so that slides in and locks. So they used to have a thing where if someone's being a little bit aggressive with it, the hose would pull out. So the hose doesn't pull out anymore. And then this can go on and locks on. And also now it ratchets. You hear that? It stays there. The other one just used to swivel around, you know, gay abandon. There we go. It works really, really well. And the other thing is, as I said, this is Festool's dust bag. If you don't want to have a vac and everything hanging off the back, you take that off, and this, I'll show you. I've just taken the rotating collar off. Don't put the wrong one on, David. And this bad boy goes on. And it's a little twist and locks, and then till I get to the right spot, that locks as well, and the same kind of thing. And then I can start using this and not be tethered to the dust extractor if I've got to do some work on a roof. And this was designed to work with the HKC, which is on the other track down there. Believe me, it's on the floor. All right, so that's that. I'm hoping that's going to answer a couple of questions for anyone. You like the Robertson square head? Yep, so do I. The Torx, they've got a little, some of the Torx screws, if you buy an appliance, sometimes they don't want you mucking around inside unless you get a technician to do it. And there'll be a little pin sticking up in the middle. Now these Torx drivers that I've got a hollow down the center. So it's basically an anti-interference pin that sticks up, so you can't get a screwdriver or anything there to undo them. They don't want you to undo them. So with my little set, will let me do that. How cool is this? There we go. This out of the way. I did promise to do some demonstrations with some other things, with those Fisch drills. We'll do that in a minute. The combination square set is here, and this is, I've told people the other week that this one here, which is designed for, you can find the center of a circle with this, which is brilliant. A center finder when it's in, and it's very, very accurate. I was very surprised. You've got their standard combination 90-45. Again, I've checked this against other squares, and you know what? It's square. End of story. And this is their protractor style square. And of all of them, I found you can get it square, obviously, because it's a protractor. It rotates to wherever you want it to go. But on the dial, that's 90 degrees now. It's just... It's going to find it in a second. Come on, come on, come on, come on. You can do it. There. Ever so slightly off. It's so close. But on all of them, this one, it doesn't matter as much because you just adjust this to wherever you want. You've got a couple of little lock bolts on the back, lock screws, and then you can adjust this around from 180 degrees, no action at all, around to 120, close enough to 120 degrees. Very, very handy for transferring angles. If you don't want to use a sliding bevel, you could use this. Very, very nice. Anyway, we're giving one of those sets away. Proudly donated by Carbotech. Thank you very much for that. I go in there and I say, come on, please, 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 give us something to give away on the show. And so they do. They didn't have to. Now, the only thing is, it has this plastic box, which works. It works brilliantly. But I don't know about you, but if you buy something in a plastic box, you look at it and go, oh, it must be cheap. Well, the stuff inside, I don't think is cheap. If I was to set these all up in a nice box made out of purple heart and, you know, curly maple, and made it look smick, presentation is everything, you would pay $400 for the set, all on presentation. So there you go. That will be sent out to someone, not this week, the week after, because you have to put all your entries in this week. Now, that brings me to the Triton. So it made a simple jig for the side of the hose. It works when you are cutting the factory edge off, worked good, and very little dust. Do you want to see something else that arrived during the week? I'll show you a bit of it. I'll show you a bit of it. Have you heard of TSO? I've got very good friends at TSO over in Florida. Now TSO have made these holes here. They lock onto the GRS 16PE. And there is a stop that's adjustable. And there's your cursor. There's 3 different lengths. I will do a video on these because I think these are fantastic. TSO always make beautiful stuff. And they, you can buy 2 of them. If you've got 2 GRS 16s, you have one at the far end of the sheet and one at the close end of the sheet, parallel guide, to do exactly what you were saying there, John. Dress the factory edge off because they are never 100% straight. So if you've got a long guide rail, I've got a 2.7 meter guide rail for doing 2.4 meter sheets. These are going to be fantastic. So that's another video down the track. As I say, if you're wondering why I haven't been doing any of my own videos, I have just been under the pump, been so busy. 11:55, and we're going to look at these bits. We're going to do a test cut and move that out over the way, and then I'll let people know who won the Triton. I'm a shocker, aren't I? Have a look at this. That is straight out of the thickness planer that I just did the video. I have not touched that with sandpaper. That is straight out of that machine. Now it's the TH-BX330P. It's the one that I've had for years and years. I've had 3 of them, I think. If you know me, you know the story, and yeah, I love it. It's a great machine. And it was great that they gave me that one as the first one, because I could kind of get myself accustomed to everything as it was going. So that's a 12 millimeters. Dealing with a machine that I was familiar with as the first one for them, which was a good idea. Centrotec, 12 millimeter bradpoint. Come on. There you go. Centrotec chuck, or Centrotec fitting at the back, and it will go into a quick change. Centrotec, straight in, done. All right, let's give it a test. I'll put a little bit of Merbo underneath it, because I don't want it to go right the way through and catch me. Here we go. Let's see how that went. There's the exit, and there's the entry. I love it. All right, I'm going to go down straight through the Merbo now, through hardwood. It's ribbed on the back, but it's a nice clean hole, so you can see all the way down through the inside. There's the entry. I see you. Romper, bumper, stomper, boo. Okay, so that's those. Let's have a look at it in melamine. Okay. Piece of melamine. I'll tip it down a little bit. You can see it actually happening. There we go. There's the entry. The exit. There's a little bit of chip. Possibly because I wasn't holding it down well enough as it went into the pine. But I'm very happy with that. So that's 12. I'll zip this up. Got to say thank you to Axminster. They sent me over 5 of them. They sent a 3, a 4, a 6, 10, and 8, and a 12. 3, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Love it. Thank you so much. And they sent this Centrotec Forstner bit as well, 35 millimeters, which is standard for your standard cup hinges, you know, on European style hinges. All right, I think that's about it. We've got to do the who won. I'm going to read back through here just to check everything's happening. Yes, well, these ones are also, Stephen, these will also go into the your standard quick change fittings. It does both. So it will also go into a quick change fitting in this bottom one here. Which is great. All right, let me read through here. Combination square, last week's winner of the Triton, fitting a new dust chute to the Festool, repairing a leg on Arthur's bench, Axminster parcel, I showed you what came, and also TSOs as well. I'm really excited about those ones. You know, I'm not getting over them overly excited about the one from Axminster with the Parf guide system, because I've already done a video on Mark 1. So Mark 2, we'll see how it goes. It's got some extra tweaks. I haven't really read up on it a lot yet, and I don't want to. I don't like seeing other people's reviews on something until I've done it myself, because I don't like getting tainted. We'll see. Yeah, we'll probably see the finished leg. Centrotec, bradpoint, support the channel through Patreon and Amazon if you can. That would be so good. And we have a new patron. Thank you so much to Michael Christophers for jumping in. So I'll read out the patrons again. Johannes Moa, John W., John Parra, Vincent Yang, Andrew Havriliv, John Lafferty, Peter Woolworth, Brian Shaw, Brian Del Vecchio, Justin Bailey, Ken Wheels, and Michael Christophers. Thank you so much. They're on a certain level that gets their name read out. If you want your name read out on the show and you're that egotistical, Terrific. I'm not. Please don't take offence if I've just said that. You're there. I know you guys are helping me out big time, and I'm so appreciative of it. And please stay. All right. Who won? Who won the Triton? This. Let's see if I go over to here, and I'll check on the side here as to what else we have. The Triton grinder, which is this bad boy here. Who won it? The winner is Michael House. Michael, I'm going to send you an email. You are one lucky duck. That is a beautiful, beautiful whetstone. I've used a few of them, and I'll tell you what, it's up there. It's up, and the diamond wheel as standard, I think that's fantastic. They're a great, great machine. And thank you so much to White's International for supplying that. And I spoke to you last week saying that I told you everyone that they'd give me one to play with. They said I can keep it. So I'm very, very happy about that as well. Thank you so much. And it's not because I showed it, it's because they just said thank you. And it makes the world go round. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. And I'm going to have a look down here. Here's a quick thing from Luke, TBDCNC. Luke's just sent that over to me this morning. He said, you know what, Dave? This is a very good reminder to people to make sure that they clamp their work to their drill press base correctly. See that drill embedded in that piece, and the whole piece is embedded in his instruction board. There was no backboard for it. He hadn't got it clamped down. It took off, snapped the drill, flew across the room, and like a ninja knife, stuck in the wall. So that's something we've got to be careful of. And here you go. For all the people who gave me the plush Barry, here's something. I gave Barry another bone last night, and I thought Plush Puppy might try and sneak one away from him. Even though Barry's got no teeth, he's not to be messed with. Alrighty, I think that is about it. Look, I've got a couple of other things there I might save them for next week, and we'll finish this off. I may even finish it off during the week, and I'll just show you how it came up. All right, thanks everyone for watching. Look after yourselves, be nice to each other, and as I say, I shall see you next week. Bye.